June 10th, 2024. City Council, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now it's at a casualty.
Okay. It looks like the first order of business is called to the public. It's the time of the meeting where if anybody wants to address the council, they can come up here, address, and they have up to 3 minutes to talk to us. Norma, is there anybody?
No, Mayor, no request.
And I don't see anybody rushing forward, so we will move out of call to the public and move into approval of the minutes. Item 3, City Council Budget Meeting, May 13th, 2024. Item 4, City Council Study Session, May 13th, 2024. Item 5, Regular Meeting, May 13th, 2024. That's all there is on that. Okay, I need a motion. Are there any corrections, comments? If there are none, I need a motion to act.
Mayor, if there's no further discussion, I make a motion we approve budget meetings from May 13th, 6:45, and from May 13th, 7:30.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, thank you. We'll move into a public hearing. To receive public comments on a planned area development, a major amendment of Mesquite Manor pad. This is a public hearing. Okay, Mr. Lopez, that's you.
Mayor Thompson, Vice Mayor Henry, council members, this is a public hearing on a proposed major amendment to an existing PAD called Mesquite Manor. It's located on Skousen Road, as you can see, half-mile south on the east side. And there's Coolidge Avenue, there's Martin, so it's about halfway where it starts. So the applicant is proposing to take, there's 60 acres total on the PAD, which is approved for 243 houses, single-family homes. What the applicant's wanting to do is using 20 acres that are located on the northwest corner up in this area, or this portion here, to put in 328 apartments. And the thing with this property here, they don't have a cause, so there's no water to actually sell lots. But there is water, of course, from Arizona Water to develop it for apartments. It's just legally to sell lots, you have to have insured water. This property does not have that, but it does have access to water for apartments. So this actual development was approved by the Planning and Zoning Commission. They held a public hearing on May 8th at their meeting, and they're recommending approval to you for the PAD major amendment request. So this is strictly the public hearing portion of it. And later on, if you decide at a later item to approve this, a site plan would come in with all the details at a later date. So this is just a public hearing on the PAD amendment. And then I got Phil here that our senior planner and myself will answer any questions you may have.
Can you please explain why there's not water in one area, but there's water for apartments? What does that mean?
Well, it doesn't mean there's no water. It just means that there's no legal water for a subdivision. In order in Arizona to develop a subdivision and sell lots, you have a 100-year assured water supply, and they call it a cause, okay? And so there's some properties in the city that have cause, like Skousen East and Cross Creek to the northwest of the existing development, and also Landmark 1, 2, and 3 down by Martin Road, Landmark 9 and 10, and those have cause. And so they can sell lots. They can file a plat, and then it gets recorded if you approve it, and then they can actually sell lots. They file them. Projects like Hawk Hollow are a rental, right? That was approved, but they can't sell lots, they're renting them. So rental properties do not require a cause, they still have to have access to water. So what would happen is they would apply to Arizona Water to access water for those apartments. So we have lots of water, it's just to sell the lots, you'd have to have the assured water supply. So it doesn't mean we don't have water, it just means that to sell lots and develop those lots as they were platted and developed, you'd have to have assured water, and that's not, they're working on that in the future. So you may see in the future conversion of ag water to lots, but that hasn't occurred yet in the legislature.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Mr. Mayor, for the benefit of the audience, a cause is a certificate of assured water, abbreviated, the acronym cause, CAWS.
It's a public hearing. Do you have any questions over here?
I have one, Mayor. Gilbert, do we have any concerns as far as what this could potentially do to traffic on this road? I know we have a couple more projects. We got Hawk Hollow a little bit south, and then we have our park coming in, if I'm correct, where this location is.
Right. Mayor Thompson, Councilmember Daniels, they'll be required to upgrade half the street there. Eventually, when you see other development, they'll be required to widen it. So there'll be a traffic study as part of that requirement for them to look at and see what the traffic load is on that road. And we'll look at that as part of the site plan. I'll provide that.
Mr. Mayor, Martin Road and Skousen Road are both major arterials in our general plan. Eventually, as they're built out, there'll be 4 lanes with a center turn lane throughout. You'll see that whenever they come in and build Hawk Hollow, half of the road along Martin, half the road on Skousen. This developer will be required, as Gilbert said, to pave half the road on Skousen Road adjacent to their property. But as development comes in, they'll be widening the road. We do collect impact fees for transportation, which will help in some of the traffic signal costs and things like that in the future.
And eventually, this road on the north, where we hope to connect that up to the industrial park. So as we look at potentially coming back to you for expansion of that in this area. So, but right now, this is a PAD for residential, but we want to just use, or the applicant wants to apply to use a corner of it for apartments.
Mr. Lopez, the River Co-op Gin, is that in the city of Coolidge or is that in the county still?
Mayor Thompson, Councilmember Bagnell, it's in the county still.
Okay, and then Fraser Home Sites, which is down along Martin Road and Skousen, that's in the county.
This portion here, yes.
Right. So when the time comes to widen the road, how are we going to go about getting the right-of-way between those two parcels?
Probably have to include it in the CIP, and it'll be part of the city's process to widen those up as we acquire property here to make those wider. Because there'll be, eventually, hopefully, you'll see in Skousen, on Skousen to the north of Coolidge, you'll see where the road is 3 lanes right now, which is in Heartland. So Heartland did part of that. Will help to get that same type of road here. And then eventually, when we build out this park, we'll see some upgrades here. And then this part we'll have to acquire.
Yeah, because I have a feeling that when that develops, it'll probably, most of the traffic will be heading north anyway.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that does buy us some time.
Yeah.
One other thing, the applicant is aware that we have an active cotton gin across the road from the property, and they will be sure to let prospective tenants know that they have a cotton gin, so they aren't all in here at a city council meeting.
Councilmember Bagnell, we let them know that. And the applicant's here along with the engineer architect. But yes, they were aware of that, and we told them there was one there. First thing
Okay.
we said.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, one other thing.
Yes.
Just on page 2 of the Planning and Zoning Commission staff report,
Yes.
on the third section there, it says subject pad and section, Brighton Village. That's probably not correct, is it? Okay, yeah, I didn't think it was correct. I just thought I
Oh, it's a
better
typo. Yes,
make sure
sorry.
that we get it scratched out so it has the right. Okay,
Yeah, I
thank you.
apologize. I didn't catch it either, so.
Yeah, that's the only thing. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else have anything?
Yep.
Cool.
George Ardondo, 1601 West Coolidge, West Wilson Avenue. I'm putting on my school board hat. You said 243 was existing pad and it's going to 328, or I'm trying to figure out what the numbers are for planning purposes. Thank you.
Yes, as Mr. Arredondo, the existing on the whole 60-acre parcel, there's 243 units PAD. So what they'll be doing is using the outlined red portion of it here to put in apartments, which right now total 328 units on this. This stays the same until a future date.
Okay. Well, if there's nothing further, we'll move out of this public hearing and move into number 7. Item 7, to receive public comments on the City of Coolidge General Plan 2035, the future today.
All right, Mayor Thompson, Vice Mayor Henry, council members. This is a required public hearing in the process to update our general plan. The general plan is required to be updated every 10 years by ARS statute, so it's got to be brought before the council, the Planning and Zoning Commission, and then we go through a process of public hearings. And then eventually it goes to the voters for the people to look at it and vote for. And we're very fortunate. We had a lot of help with this, and some of is here in case you have any questions of them. They went through an extensive study. The laws have changed on water, so they were gracious enough to help us and upgrade those documents and the information that's in there. So in 2025, well, let's see, so the mayor and council directed us to look at the update. The plan right now is called 2025 General Plan. And so we use staff to look at this plan. The plan we have is fairly comprehensive and really good. Back when it was adopted in 2014, it changed completely to be more, Rick and I think Tim Hansen worked on it and created a document that used a lot of illustrations to show what potentially could go in certain sections. And it was a really good document, very forward-thinking document. So it's been worked well for us this past 10 years. So what we did is we looked at it and went through the process of going through public hearings, public meetings, and the elements we looked at was land use, circulation, open space, growth areas, environment, water resources, and the cost of development. So what we did is we provided this summary to both P&Z and yourselves that shows you some of the sections that we updated basically. So you could see, without having to read through the whole book, go exactly to the places that were updated. And so this was something we provided to help. One of the big important, like I talked about before, was the water element that was updated by Arizona Water and Global Water. They worked together and provided that. We also updated some of the road width plans and some of the illustrations because they weren't that legible before. So with Phil's help and our GIS person, Jared, they created some documents. And Ben Navarro, he provided these illustrations to better highlight the roadway widths and what we would need in our plan as we go through the zoning. So the general plan is a policy document. The zoning code is the implementation document. So this basically guides when somebody wants to say, we want to rezone something, we first go to the general plan and see if the general would allow that type of zoning, and then go forward. If it doesn't, they have to then amend the general plan and go through the process to do that. And so it's a fairly important document. So so some important dates just to share with you. This started on this year, March 6th, we started a 60-day review period. We have to actually send a notice to a lot of the agencies, the county, the state, land department, other cities surrounding us, and receive their comments. So the end of the 60-day review was May 6, 2024. We did have some comments. We considered them. We also had a public hearing in P&Z, and on May 8th, the Planning and Zoning Commission had a public hearing. And we considered all those, and then we also, they voted to approve the general plan and send it to you with the recommendation of approval. So here we're on June 10th, 2024, so this is a public hearing for you to look at this. We'll take any comments, and then on June 24th, next meeting, I'll come back to you to see if you'll adopt the plan. And then, once you do that, it goes to the election, to the voters on November 5th, 2024, as part of the overall general election. Do you have any questions on that, please? And I've got Phil, too. Phil worked really hard on this, along with a person, so he was instrumental in updating all the portions of it. We've been looking through and catching anything that could misspelling or anything like that, so.
Well, anybody have any questions? It's a public hearing. Well, seeing nobody approach, we'll move out of the public hearing and we'll move into business items for consent. Is there anybody up here that wants any of these items pulled off for individual consideration?
No, sir.
Mayor, can I pull number 8?
Down here? No? Okay.
Oh, just me.
Here we go. Item 9. Consider approval of the letter of agreement for professional services with Fitzgibbons Law Offices, PLC, for the purpose of providing legal services to the city through June 30th, 2025. Item 10. Consider approval of the letter of agreement for professional services with Mr. Vincent Mantoli for the purpose of providing public defender services to the city's municipal court beginning July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2025. Item 11. Consider approval of entering into a second amendment to employee staff between the City of Coolidge and Educational Services, LLC, for the purpose of continuing the Rehire program, formerly known as SmartWorks Plus, from July 24th through June 30th, 2025. Item 12, consider approval of entering into a cooperative purchasing agreement for on-call engineering services with T.Y. Lin International for design and engineering of the Erica Road Railroad crossing utilizing Pinal contract number 204926ROQ, authorizing the mayor to sign the necessary documents. Item 13, resolution number 24-10, a resolution of the mayor and the city council of the city of Coolidge, Pinal County, Arizona, adopting a policy and prescribing procedures for purchasing from the mayor and any member of the council. And item 14, resolution number 24-11, a resolution of the city of Coolidge, Arizona, mayor and common council, designating the chief fiscal officer for officially submitting the fiscal year 2025 expenditure limitation report to the Arizona Auditor General. Okay, I need a motion to act. Oh, no, I don't. Yeah, I do. I need a motion to act on 9 through 14.
And Mayor, if there's no further discussion, I make a motion, we approve consent agenda items 9 through 14 as read.
Is there a second?
Second?
Okay, Norma?
Councilmember Hudson,
Yes.
Councilmember Saavedra,
Yes.
Councilmember Bagnell,
Yes.
Councilmember Daniels, Councilmember Murrieta, Vice Mayor Henry,
Yes.
and Mayor Thompson.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, item 8. Consider approval of appointing Delilah Famiani, Heather Steffen, and Rebecca Reese to serve on the Personnel Advisory Board through December 31st, 2026, and approval to appoint Mike Henry, Sue Bacon, and Philip Hastings and James Tidwell through December 31st, 2027.
Mayor, just very briefly, if I can, I just want to thank all the candidates that applied for this position. I know council probably feels the same way, but we really do appreciate all our board and commission members for serving on behalf of the citizens. This is a non-paid position, and anytime you give to the city, we really greatly appreciate. That's all I have.
I too would like to thank you for applying. There was a couple on here that were not able to attend tonight, but I think looking out here, we have the rest of them present.
Okay, well, thank you. Thank you very much. But I guess we better do what we got to do so we can get them on there. I need a motion to
Mayor, if there's no
act.
further discussion, I move to approve item number 8 as read.
Is there a second?
Second.
I'm gonna choose your second. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Well, thank you and congratulations and good luck. Business under regular items.
Mayor, is it possible to switch this around? Because I have some questions on this that might take a little bit longer. That we won't keep them. It's up to you. I just wanted to point that out.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and, since I think we're gonna have, we're gonna do item, first. Ordinance number 24-09. An ordinance of the mayor and the city council of the city of Coolidge, Arizona, adopting a planned area development, major amendment of existing 243 unit, 60 acre plus or minus Mesquite Manor pad to the 326 unit multifamily unit, 20 acre plus or minus Mesquite Manor, located generally half a mile south of the intersection of Coolidge Avenue and Skousen Road, Coolidge, Arizona.
Mayor Thompson, Vice Mayor Henry, council members, this is the ordinance to adopt and approve the PAD major amendment for Mesquite Manor. And this would allow them then to come back with the P&Z with a site plan to be considered and looked at. And I'll answer any questions you may have.
I just have one question. Have you, you've sent it out to individuals, right? Have you heard from anybody? Have you received any comments or anything?
No, Phil, we haven't gotten anything. No,
Okay,
P&Z, nobody commented.
okay.
Councilmember Henry, just before the meeting, there was a gentleman asking me questions out in the foyer. A little bit late. He had property on Martin Road. I answered his questions. They were primarily related to roadways down in his area that weren't impacted by this project. So he went ahead and left.
Thank you.
You know, Gilbert, I do have a question. When I read through this, I wondered, does the city put in the sewer line? Do we pay for that, or does the contractor do it, or the developer do it, or who pays for the sewer? Because I see it has to be extended about, what, a mile or something?
I don't know Mayor, I don't know if it's that far. Yeah, depends, because we have sewer over by the industrial park that could be extended to that area from here. The sewer lines are right there. And they run here. There's a manhole that goes there and feeds into the sewer plant.
Well, it looked like there was a couple of, wasn't there a couple of different ways? I guess my question though mainly is who pays for that?
Yeah, I believe they're required to pay for that. We have impact fees that we'll collect too.
The developer will be required to pay for the extension of the sewer to serve the.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know. Thank you.
Same with the streets and everything.
Well, Mayor, if I can, with the park being that close, I can't visualize, does the potential park go all the way to that border?
The regional park?
Yep.
So I believe it's in this area right here.
Oh, okay.
And it's this corner here. Yeah, so I think it covers this. So there's a field here right now.
I was gonna say, because I thought it bordered that, because we were gonna potentially put a restroom stand, but I don't know if it'll reach all the way to there.
Yeah,
So, yeah, the park is a quarter mile north of the north boundary of this property.
so here. Park is
And I
in that
believe
area.
in all of our conversations with the developer, their plan is to take the wastewater back to the east and tie it into the main that's in Industrial Drive in the industrial park.
All right. Is there any other questions?
No.
All right, then, any motion to act?
Mayor, move to approve ordinance number 24-09 as read.
Second.
Okay, motion and second. Norma?
Vice Mayor Henry,
Yes.
Councilmember Murrieta,
Yes.
Councilmember Daniels,
Yes.
Councilmember Bagnell,
Yes.
Councilmember Saavedra,
Yes.
Councilmember Hudson,
Yes.
and Mayor Thompson.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, item number 15, ordinance number 24-08. An ordinance of the City of Coolidge setting its 2024-2025 expenditure limit and approving and adopting the 2024-2025 tentative budget for fiscal year 2024-2025 and declaring an emergency.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the council, tonight you have the ordinance for the tentative budget, which basically we're setting the expenditure limitation, which is the overall number that the city can spend. We are under home rule, which means that the expenditure limitations have already been to the public. They voted on these numbers to allow us to expend X amount of dollars throughout each of the next 4 years. So that number is the 66,159,086. Now, if you're familiar with our budgets, we usually don't spend anywhere near that amount. That's just in case we get any big grants or we get anything like that, or we want to expend fund balance, or again, as you saw in the CFD, Martin Valley, where we had a special election that came up, we had the ability to expend those funds and receive the money for that election. So the real budget, usually probably be around, I think we spend about 25 million a year. So it'd be somewhere in that same neighborhood again. But again, budgeting fund balance and things like that allow for things that come up that are unplanned, that potentially we have revenues for. One of the things being if Development Services has a lot of building permits and we need to do different things with that to collect the money, but also to expend the money for plan reviews or anything that we outsource, we have the ability to do those kind of things. So there are fluctuations in the budget. Gives us that leeway. So I'll answer any questions you guys may have.
Mayor, I have some questions.
Go ahead.
So, I went through the budget and, I'm gonna probably be skipping around a little, but, under demolitions, now, I believe the demolitions that's for development services, right? So last year, I remember us talking about increasing that amount, and Councilmember Hudson agreed to change it from 50 to 100,000. It still shows 50,000 in this year's budget, but then it's been taken down to 25,000. Am I,
That's a simple change. We can do that. It doesn't affect the overall expenditure.
pardon me?
I said, we can change that. It doesn't affect the overall expenditure limitation. Because again, this is just the budget. You're setting the expenditure limitation, so I can move money into that if that's what the council would like to see.
Well, I mean, that's what we voted for last time. And I didn't know that we agreed to take it down to 25,000. I don't know who came up with that. That's why I'm asking about it. Because there is a lot of houses, I know every time I would call about it, well, we're out of money, we're out of money. That's why I brought it up last year. And now we're even less than what it was gonna be last year, when we moved it to 100,000. So, I would like to see that corrected. I don't know about the rest of the council, but that's my feelings on that. So I don't know if anybody else wants to say anything about that one.
Leaving it at 100,000 is fine with me.
So, and then the other thing, you guys asked for some positions, and I thought we were gonna be coming back and talking about this stuff. Nobody has submitted anything about the reason why you would like to see these actual positions added to your departments. Now, there are some obvious ones, and we talked about the police officers, and we talked about that a couple weeks ago. Code enforcement, I know I've always been big on code enforcement, and I believe the mayor's always big on code enforcement, and so I can understand that. But the other ones that have been put in, there's just no justification. You guys didn't come with justification as why, you're just saying we want them. I don't get that. Also, one of the documents that you gave us, Mr. Garcia, was budgeted positions, and it shows an administrative assistant, I'm not going to mention a name, divided in under three departments. And two of those departments are the reason why one of the positions is being requested. So I don't understand that one.
Vice Mayor, Mayor, if you're referring to the City Hall personnel, all of City Hall personnel is usually helping each other out. It doesn't really matter where you want to code it. We can take it out of finance if that's what you're referring to and put it all in those. Again, it doesn't change the budget. It's more just numeric, so I can take that out of finance if that's what you'd like. But usually that person will be sitting up front, answering phones, doing things, helping out different departments, filling in during lunches and things like that, which is why it's shared. So, I mean, we can take it out and that person would not be able to do any of that if that's what you so choose. Again, it doesn't change the expenditure limitation. It's just a matter of coding and we can change that very easily.
Well, the person that I'm talking about, I don't think helps in HR anymore. And, but you still showed it as that.
Again, if you would tell me the position you want changed, we can change that. It's not, I mean, it's,
So, I mean, I've got some concerns about the positions and not knowing why you guys need
well, and
these
Vice Mayor, if you remember, at the
positions.
end of every meeting and the last meeting. did not
Well, I
come
thought
up
we were
again,
gonna
so-
be talking about, staff, positions and stuff like that. I didn't know we were not gonna come back and do that.
At the end of the last meeting, we said that what's going to come back to you is what's been presented and comes in the tentative budget. As it was presented based on council changes, we made the council changes, the recommendations. That's what's in there. So if you want something changed, we can change it between now and then. That doesn't affect the tentative budget. And the overall expenditure limitation is just moving money around to where you need it to be. So whatever changes you would like to make, we can make those. It's not a big deal.
Vice Mayor Henry, we're happy to answer any questions related to any of the staff. Since we have department heads that can answer, I can try to answer the best of my ability as well
Well, I
about any
didn't
of these
know
positions.
if, we wanted to take the time to do all that, but, I would, if you want to leave these in there, that's fine, but I'd like to see them frozen until this is me, until they're justified, with the exception of the ones that are the obvious.
So what would you consider the obvious again? Development services and PD? Okay. That's easy. That'll come with the salary plan when HR brings that during the next meeting.
Okay.
I just got a couple things. Under the judicial, we have an existing court clerk that's full-time, $16,452.
That basically is a part-time type person, but it would go to full-time depending on when we actually get that position. We didn't know what it's going to look like. Once it gets approved in the salary plan, we can adjust that as we need to. So that would go up to whatever the base. That was the part-time person that we had before. We just changed the title. And I believe we're going to bring a job justification based off of a recent audit to change the scope of that position. But as that position stands right now, that's what's in there. But it would change to, I believe we're looking at a court clerk slash security person that was recommended as part of the audit to come in and help wand and scan before court. So we'll make that change, but that change will come when we bring the salary plan.
Okay, because, and then also on here, it shows 5 full-time employees, but it totals up to 5.50.
Okay, yeah, I can look at that spreadsheet.
So are we, the proposed position, is that the one, are we gonna do away with the part-time person and just have a full-time person? I'm not under.
That's gonna be what we're gonna
following
try to
this.
figure out, so that would be definitely a change that would come out. We're still working. I know the mayor, myself, our grants person, all met with the AOC, I think it was the AOC or whoever came down, and they gave us some recommendations. And then we're still pulling job descriptions to see what that would look like or what personnel we actually need. I think that meeting was literally about a month ago, so we're still working on that.
Okay, yeah, because I certainly don't have a problem with turning it into a full-time position but, I don't know if we need a part-time position if we're gonna do a full-time position.
Yeah, so that's what we're trying to see is like maybe they recommended two solutions as one, maybe you get your normal person, the other one is maybe just a part-time person to come in and help during court, kind of do supervisory type stuff or like checking at the door and things like that. Or if it's going to be somebody that fills a multi-role. So right now we just kind of left it as until we can figure all that out and figure out what's needed
Okay.
to better equip that department. So-
Okay. And the only other thing is, when we split somebody up, a third and a third and a third, somebody's always gonna get shorted on that deal.
Yeah, well, a lot of that, again, to Councilmember Henry's point, a lot of it, if it's general fund, it all comes out of the same bucket.
Right.
So let's say one department happens to go over, it's absorbed by maybe another department staying under. So the general fund is all unrestricted money that's available for use. So if it's a general fund person, it doesn't really matter. The only time it really matters is when it becomes a HERF or a HERF personnel, which has to be designated for HERF or road uses, or somebody that's in the enterprise funds, which would be your liquid waste, solid waste, and airport. So those are the times where it becomes a little bit more, you have to be a little bit more spot on in terms of estimating or budgeting. But when they're all general fund positions, I mean, general fund, in theory, I help development service systems, I help Rick, so I don't get coded to his budget, it's just all general fund. And so, same thing with, if it's another person to split up, if they're providing general fund work, it's kind of just a,
So essentially, we could just make it one position and have that under one,
You
and
could-
then
you
then
could-
you move them around as you need them, basically.
as long as they're in the budget and in their job
Okay,
are, yeah, we could do that, but
All
this
right.
is just the way it's been done, and we've kind of carried it on since probably the beginning of time, but,
yeah,
It
it's
does get a
just,
little confusing when you're adding all those numbers up and you're splitting them, and then, you may get a new department head and they switch their duties and you don't know about it, so it's kind of just there. But again, usually if it's general fund, it's all covered under general fund. An issue, but
and I am glad to see that we're adding in the custodian worker, parks and maintenance, code enforcement, and, so I think those are all very much needed
yeah,
at
we
this
agree.
time, so,
We agree.
okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Garcia, is that position part-time right now, or does she work full-time?
The position that
He was
Councilmember
talking
Bagnell
about?
brought up is the part-time position with just the name change. We didn't know what it was gonna be. We just don't have that position anymore. It hasn't been filled and it's not gonna be there. It'll be into something else that'll probably have some of those duties, but again, until we put together a job description and make everything kind of jive in terms of that person to be, or if it's gonna be a different person. But right now, it is a part-time person and it's just not filled.
Okay, one thing I forgot to ask. So I know that we approved last meeting to go out for a grant for the courts. So, they're not guaranteed. So I was just kind of curious. I know that things need to be taken care of in the courts, but I couldn't find anything in the budget that reflected just in case we didn't get the grant. I know you can find money, but should that not be in there?
Again, we met with the department that issues the grant. Being that it's several years into the grant, there's a lot of the needs that, from other agencies that have been taken care of. So we know there's a great likelihood of us getting it in the event that we don't get it, or we have to provide some match in something that we talked about. But we do have contingency funds that are available to be used to go ahead and do those. We know that that's of importance. Obviously, it's a service that's needed. It's a service that we value, and we got to have the right measures in place in that department. So those needs would be taken care of in the event that we don't get the grant. But I believe, based on their discussions with us, it's fairly likely. So, I mean, I think that more than not that we'll get it. If not, we'll come to you guys and say, hey, we'd like to use some money in the amount of X to complete the required upgrades or changes to that particular department.
Okay, thank you.
Yep,
And if I come across any others, I'll get in touch with you.
okay.
Anything else? Okay, is There's nothing else, and I guess I need a motion to act on item 15.
Mayor, if there's no further discussion, I make a motion we approve ordinance 24-08 as read.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. All right, Norma, you go.
Councilmember Hudson,
Yes.
Councilmember Saavedra,
Yes.
Councilmember Bagnell,
Yes.
Councilmember Daniels,
Yes.
Councilmember Murrieta,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Henry,
Yes.
and Mayor Thompson.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Report from Mayor Council
Nothing to report. Thank you.
down here.
Nothing.
Nothing to report.
Very briefly, Mayor, today I actually attended the Neighborhood Sustainability Quality of Life Committee with the Arizona City of League. I'll be providing kind of a report on that to the rest of council, hopefully in a week or so. Also mentioned it briefly, the Vice Mayor and myself had the pleasure of interviewing some PAB candidates, and tonight we approved those. That's all I had.
Nothing.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, in the morning, I'll have your report from May in your boxes in Sienna's office. And I think Gabe wanted to mention something. Gabe, there, why don't you mention, I think we have some good news for Coolidge.
Mayor, members of the council, this is not necessarily department related, but just something that I wanted to share that everybody can hopefully rejoice in. This past weekend, my son's 12U baseball team, we have a Coolidge team that's been together since they were 8 years old. They're 12 now. We just finished our season. We won the district championship 2 weeks ago. We played for the state championship this past weekend, and we ended up winning that. The team is 18-0 this year, and we won the right to represent Arizona in Hawaii in July and compete for the Pacific Southwest Regionals. And that goes against Guam, Hawaii, Northern, Central, Southern California, Northern and Southern Utah, Nevada, and Arizona. So it's going to be exciting. These kids, not only that, when you take into consideration our Young Bucks team is what they're called. Between last season, this season, it's basically the junior high team. The junior high team went 15-1-1 and lost in the state championship. So between those last three seasons, that team is 54 wins, 4 losses, and 3 ties. So
Great.
you got a good group of baseball players coming up. I know the high school's excited. They're coming out watching our games. We don't have any more games in Arizona, but we will be in Hawaii competing, and so I'll try to send you guys an update to let you know how those kids are doing. But it's awesome, and they put a lot of dedication, and they deserve it. So
So
That's
these
wonderful.
kids going to go through to Coolidge High School and hopefully
better.
one of these days have a great baseball team again?
I hope nobody
game.
from Imagine is here, but all these kids are enrolled in Coolidge Junior High. There was some that came over from Imagine. So the idea is to keep all these kids together so they come up as a group. But we hopefully see some good things coming. From that junior high team, we returned everybody but 2 kids. So that's pretty exciting. They were 6th graders, mostly 7th graders. So we'll see what happens in the future. And our 11U team took 2nd, and then our 8U team, I think they lost in the championship as well. So there's a lot of good baseball coming through, and I'm happy that they let me be a part of it. But I thought the council should know that, and just so if you see a Young Bucks shirt or a Young Bucks hat running around, just tip your cap to them because they deserve it. So
Tell them congratulations from me
Yes,
and good luck.
that's awesome. Congratulations.
thank you.
Council trip to Hawaii. Council retreat.
Good job. That's what I call a good away game. All right. Well, thank you. I don't have anything to add. I need a motion to get out of here.
So moved.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, everybody, for